With Catherine beside him, our new Prince and Princess of Wales will, I know.
And I think, again, staying connected, staying positive and being able to talk to friends and family is so crucial.
For months, the world watched in silence, sensing that something was terribly wrong behind the palace walls. Now, Buckingham Palace has released very sad news. In a rare and somber joint statement, King Charles and Prince William have confirmed heartbreaking information about Princess Catherine's health. As the nation waits in shock, the royal family struggles to face a difficult truth that can no longer be kept secret. Behind the tall gates of Windsor and the long hallways of Kensington, a profound change was taking place, one far heavier and more powerful than any polished palace statement could convey. The royal family was no longer focused on arranging perfect photo moments or shaping a flawless public image. They were guarding a reality they didn't know how to explain. Slowly, the outside world began to notice missing pieces, asking questions, comparing timelines, replaying old interviews, and realizing something was gravely wrong. This was not a minor delay or a slow recovery, it marked the start of a darker chapter in the royal story, shaped by fear, uncertainty, and human frailty rather than grace and glamour. As the curtain of secrecy began to lift, observers pieced together the chilling truth. Inside the palace, Prince William was no longer just the calm, collected future king. He was a worried husband, watching the woman he loved deteriorate before his eyes, sleepless, quiet, and trapped in his own thoughts. All his training, diplomacy, and royal discipline offered no protection. This was not a scandal to manage or a rumor to deny. This was Catherine, the mother of his children, slipping away in a way he could not stop. The weight on his shoulders grew unbearable. Adelaide Cottage, once filled with laughter and children's voices, became a quiet place where every creak in the floor and every unanswered question felt like a warning. William, raised to hide emotion, now confronted helplessness stronger than duty, his days consumed by medical consultations, rushed phone calls, and nights spent staring out the window, clinging to even the smallest sign of hope. What frightened William most was not what he saw happening to Catherine, but what he no longer saw: the spark in her eyes, the steady confidence she was known for, the warm energy she brought into every room. All of it seemed to be fading, and not even their children could lift her spirit as the silence in their home grew heavy, like walking through thick fog. His breaking point, however, did not come from her declining condition alone, but from the palace's refusal to reveal the truth. Senior advisors insisted the family stay quiet to protect the crown and avoid public chaos, but William saw it differently. To him, this was about giving Catherine dignity and allowing the world to understand what she was fighting. Tension rose behind closed doors as advisors urged silence. Yet William, fed up with secrecy, sent King Charles a private message containing 5 powerful words: "She deserves more than silence." When someone leaked that message, the media erupted, but William no longer cared. His focus was solely on Catherine, the woman who had supported him through every chapter of royal life, and who now lay struggling while the world wondered where she had gone. Advisors suggested staged photos and gentle, polished statements, but William refused, even speaking quietly to a few trusted journalists against palace wishes. His frustration seeped into everything: his expression, his tone, the way he walked out of meetings without looking back. Then, in mid-March, everything collapsed as Catherine's condition suddenly worsened. Doctors altered their approach, treatments intensified, and a chilling realization spread through the palace. This was not temporary, not a minor setback. The future queen's life was in danger, and the silence that once seemed protective had become the palace's greatest mistake. It all began with Catherine's sudden absence from public life. Days turned into weeks, then months, with no appearances, no photos, no reassuring updates. Although the palace insisted her surgery had gone well, royal observers sensed something was wrong, and each day without news deepened the concern. William was not seen at the hospital. There were no images of the children visiting her, and even the usual staged photos were missing. The royal gates remained shut, leaving only questions. Even the relentless media found nothing: no sightings, no leaks, no whispers. Catherine had simply vanished. Then William began cancelling events without explanation, appearing exhausted and tense when he did show up, and insiders later revealed that his schedule had been cleared indefinitely with no public announcement. Slowly, fragments of information leaked from within. "Unexpected complications," one aide whispered. "They're trying to manage the fallout," said another. Still, the palace repeated the same scripted words: privacy, rest, healing until a hidden clinic staff member contacted a foreign journalist with 4 chilling words. It's worse than they say. The story spread worldwide within hours, shifting public mood instantly as major news outlets began questioning the official narrative. The silence that once seemed protective now felt ominous, marking the true beginning of the unraveling. Why were there no photos showing Catherine was improving? Why had William stopped speaking? And why had Catherine vanished so completely? Behind the royal gates, a truth long buried by protocol and fear finally began to surface. Charles, usually cautious and controlled, reached a breaking point during an emotional meeting at Clarence's house, where he reportedly slammed his fist on the table and declared, "No more hiding. Let the world know what she's fighting." It marked a turning point in the palace's silence, a moment when the king set aside tradition and chose honesty after watching William suffer, and after spending just 15 minutes at Catherine's bedside enough to leave him pale, shaken, and stripped of his royal composure. He understood then that Catherine was not recovering but fighting for her life, and the family's future hung in the balance. A power struggle erupted within the palace as Queen Camilla suggested a cautious, controlled update, only for Charles to cut her off, insisting firmly that the time for optics had passed. For the first time in his reign, he overruled every advisor, demanding transparency instead of half-truths and delays, acting not as a king, but as a father-in-law terrified of losing someone he loved. Strangely, the crisis drew Charles and William closer. The fear that had strained their relationship began to fade as they worked together, crafting statements not as royals, but as men navigating grief and uncertainty. Yet one truth remained hidden from the public, a truth the family had only recently uncovered. Catherine's decline had not appeared suddenly, nor had her illness emerged out of nowhere. According to confidential documents, signs of cancer had been present for months, detected during routine checks in late 2023 when irregularities in her blood first raised alarms. Initially dismissed as unclear, these results grew more concerning with each test, even as Catherine grew slimmer, more exhausted, and moved with increasing difficulty, while still forcing herself to uphold every royal duty. She continued smiling at events and filming projects despite the growing pain, fighting a silent battle known only to a handful of trusted staff. Some insiders revealed she had collapsed twice, once during a private charity dinner, and again at a children's hospital visit, each incident concealed swiftly, as guests were told she had a migraine and security ensured no details leaked. But inside the palace, panic intensified as William watched her weaken, saw her appetite fade, and begged her to rest, pleading with her to let doctors uncover the truth. While she refused, still believing she needed to embody steadiness, kindness, and courage even as her body betrayed her. Despite her worsening condition, Catherine insisted on continuing her work, telling William, "Let me work while I still can. People need to see something steady." Her unbreakable will clashing painfully with a body that was beginning to fail her, and that contrast terrified William more than anything. Meanwhile, senior aides faced a separate crisis. King Charles was battling his own health issues, and the idea of announcing that 2 central figures of the monarchy were seriously ill felt like a disaster waiting to unfold. They feared it would damage public confidence, raise succession concerns, and make the royal family appear fragile instead of strong. So the truth was buried. Catherine reluctantly agreed, comforted by assurances that her condition was early, manageable, and treatable in private, but cancer paid no mind to schedules or image, spreading faster and more aggressively than anyone had expected. By the time the palace was willing to reveal the truth, the situation was slipping beyond control. Doctors expressed concern, advisors whispered guilt, yet none of them could undo the silence that had cost time, trust, and precious opportunities for transparency. William, torn between his duty as a prince and his fear as a husband, grew distant from those who urged secrecy. The institution had chosen silence and lost. But amidst the hidden decisions and quiet fears, no one anticipated Catherine's next move. She stunned the nation with a single act of courage. Without alerting the palace press office or following any protocol, she recorded a raw, unpolished video in the garden where her children played, her trembling voice delivering a message that changed everything in just 94 seconds. There were no staged photos, no polished statements, only Catherine alone, honest, vulnerable, thanking the public for their patience before confirming the rumors that surgery had revealed cancer, and she was undergoing preventive chemotherapy. Her face remained calm, but her eyes carried the weight of someone who had walked through fear and now faced it openly. She shared no medical details, speaking instead about her family, strength, and the need for privacy, but beneath every word lingered something unspoken. A soft, almost invisible thread of goodbye woven between her sentences. It felt as though Catherine was preparing the world for a future she wasn't certain she would live to see. And the reaction was immediate within minutes. Social media ignited as the video spread across continents, translated into dozens of languages, dissected by experts, and debated by royal commentators, while hashtags supporting her flooded the internet and candlelight vigils appeared outside Kensington Palace and Windsor Castle, where strangers cried together not for a royal figure, but for a woman, a mother, a wife fighting for her life. Her vulnerability shattered the monarchy's long-standing coldness and replaced it with something painfully human. And behind closed doors the emotional aftermath was even heavier. William, reportedly unaware she planned to release the video that day, appeared visibly shaken during a school visit. And when a student gently asked how Catherine was doing, he turned away, paused, and for the first time in his public life, cried in front of a crowd. A moment so raw that even the press refused to publish the footage out of respect. From that moment, everything changed. The monarchy, once shielded by tradition and secrecy, was forced into a new era as Catherine did what no royal had ever done. She exposed the fragility behind the crown. And instead of diminishing her, the honesty made the world love her even more. Yet while the public was moved by her courage, another storm gathered behind palace walls. Catherine needed rest, and the institution, finally aware of the crisis's full gravity, had to confront decisions that would shape not only her future, but the future of the monarchy itself. Who would stand in her place if she never returned? Who would protect the children in her absence? And who the public would look to if their beloved princess disappeared from view forever? And as these questions loomed, alliances began to fray, hidden agendas surfaced, and not every member of the royal family seemed to have Catherine's well-being at heart. While the world outside watched with admiration, inside the palace tension simmered as Catherine, more than a symbol of modern royalty, remained the thread holding everything together. Catherine had long been the thread holding together the monarchy's fragile image, but now that thread was beginning to fray behind thick palace walls as an almost unthinkable conversation took shape, sending quiet tremors of political maneuvering through royal ranks. Camilla, skilled in navigating power, reportedly began expressing interest in taking on more visible ceremonial roles, with some in her circle viewing the crisis as an opportunity to step further into the spotlight, an idea that stirred discomfort despite the public's overwhelming sympathy for the family. Princess Anne, whose loyalty to Catherine was grounded in steadfast duty rather than appearances, acted swiftly alongside Sophie, Duchess of Edinburgh, to oppose any premature move to replace her. They warned King Charles that even discussing substitutes risked betraying both the public and the family, with him bluntly cautioning that rushing to fill Catherine's role could irreparably damage the monarchy. But tension only deepened as loyalty clashed with practicality in closed-door meetings, all while William stood firmly at the centre, refusing to entertain any notion of stand-ins. He understood the pressure, but he believed that acknowledging a backup plan would feel like surrender, and he would not give up on Catherine. Advisors attempted to reason with him, raising concerns about continuity and the public's mounting demand for answers, yet his response remained unwavering. She's not gone. As silence stretched on, pressure mounted unbearably. Aides debated whether issuing a progress update would calm nerves or intensify scrutiny, leaving the communications team paralyzed between protecting Catherine's privacy and maintaining control of the narrative. Meanwhile, discreet contingency plans quietly formed alternative schedules, redistributed patronages, subtle restructuring of duties hidden from public view, but not from William, who noticed every shift as trust within the royal family trembled and long-buried tension grew louder. Just when it seemed the institution might fracture under fear, secrecy, and speculation, an unexpected twist emerged. A new statement from Catherine herself. With cautious but unmistakable relief, she revealed the news so many had prayed for: the cancer was in remission. Yet even this moment of joy carried a shadow, a lingering question whispered in palace corridors and homes across the country. How long will this peace last? Her message was brief, careful, and deeply moving as she thanked the public for their overwhelming support, speaking with the quiet strength that had defined her even in the darkest moments. Catherine thanked the public for their messages of compassion and unwavering love, speaking of resilience, faith, and the strength she drew from her husband and children during her darkest days. And then, with quiet but unmistakable pride, she shared the miraculous news. Her treatment had worked, and for now, The cancer was no longer active. She was in remission. The announcement rippled across the globe in a wave of cautious celebration, as news outlets called it a miracle and social media overflowed with prayers, cheers, and tears. Yet beneath the relief there remained a collective restraint. Catherine did not present her remission as a victory march, but as a careful, humble step forward on a long and uncertain road, her voice still carrying the tremor of someone who had stood at the edge and lived to speak about it. She emphasized vigilance, reminding the world that remission did not guarantee safety, a caution echoed by medical experts who warned that although the signs had faded, the risk endured and constant monitoring would now be part of her life. Inside the palace, this reality was fully understood, and while William was overjoyed, he grew fiercely protective, insisting her return to public life be slow and gentle, an approach Catherine embraced. She began reappearing quietly. Private events, hospital visits, early childhood charity work, carefully chosen gatherings that would not overwhelm her. Though even in these small appearances the change was visible. Thinner, more reserved, her radiance softened by months of recovery. Yet still she smiled, and that smile rekindled a fragile flame of hope. One moment captured the world's heart. Catherine walking hand in hand with her children at a school event. A simple outing that became profoundly symbolic. A silent message that life, however fragile, was inching forward. Parents and teachers described her as gracious and deeply moved, focused entirely on her children as she tried to give them a sense of normalcy amid chaos. Still, questions lingered. What if it came back? What if this moment of relief was only temporary? And how would the monarchy withstand another storm? Catherine, unaware of how deeply she had altered the institution, had sparked a quiet revolution. Though light slowly returned to the palace, shadows clung to its corners as a final royal decision loomed, one capable of shaking the monarchy's core. With King Charles and William preparing for uncertain transitions, Catherine's courage had redrawn the map of royal life, and when the final public address came, it was delivered without pomp, no fanfare, no ceremony, only solemn respect as Charles and William stood side by side and declared what many already felt. Her courage, Charles said, has reset the monarchy. In that moment, a profound truth crystallized. Catherine had accomplished what decades of tradition never had. She returned humanity to the crown. This was no longer about appearances or ritual, but survival, about the rare quiet strength required to endure relentless scrutiny while fighting personal battles. Behind palace walls, long rigid rules began to shift. Contingency plans once unthinkable were drafted, not just for a sovereign's death, but for the possibility of a future queen needing space to survive. Responsibilities were redistributed, expectations softened, and the illusion of perfect health dissolved. Catherine's ordeal had exposed the woman behind the tiara and revealed the fragile core of an institution resistant to change, leaving it no choice but to evolve. Her influence extended beyond protocol into the heart of the monarchy's charitable mission. Mental health became central, early childhood advocacy deepened, and her quiet acts of care, handwritten notes, and gentle outreach reshaped the meaning of royal duty. The old rules, show up, smile, shake hands, were no longer enough. Catherine had rewritten them. Show up honestly, vulnerably, with the scars unhidden. And the deepest impact of her journey would remain with those closest to her, especially her children George, Charlotte, and Louis, whose futures would forever be shaped by the strength, fragility, and profound humanity their mother had shown the world. Catherine's hopes were never just about raising happy, healthy children. They were about the kind of society she dreamed the next generation could build. Her children were no longer simply heirs or ceremonial figures. They carried the story of their mother, having witnessed a level of fragility, courage, and honesty rarely shown within royal walls. Insiders whispered that during her darkest days, Catherine wrote each child a personal letter, sealed and to be opened only if she did not return an unconfirmed, but deeply poignant detail that intensified the weight of her legacy. She did not endure her struggles in silence. She transformed them, turning pain into purpose. And now, as she slowly steps back into public life, the world does not see a princess desperate to reclaim her role, but a woman who approached the brink and chose to fight her way back. She reminded a nation that strength does not always roar. Sometimes it whispers, steady and fragile, like a mother refusing to let go. Her battle may continue, but her courage has already reshaped the monarchy, recasting it with humanity, vulnerability, and truth.